Hello and happy Monday to you, English scholars. This is a video to show you what your assignment is for ELL today while you are at home working. So, although we will not have a Zoom class today, you still do have an assignment that you should do during this time, like you have every Monday. The assignment for today, which is Monday, October 5th, is on page 26 and 27 of your ELL Google Doc. So your doc should have a name that is Unit 4, Cluster 1, and hopefully it has your name here in the front. So the assignment is the last two pages of the doc. There is some directions as well as three small black and white pictures and a graphic organizer and a place to write a paragraph. So you can see here that the goal is to write with purpose and organization. So when we talk about purpose, we mean a goal. You are writing to accomplish some sort of goal. And of course, organize means that your paragraph should be in a logical order. Your ideas are put in an order that makes sense and that is easy for a reader to understand. So your basic assignment here is to write a paragraph. So you can see down here the words, our paragraph is highlighted here in yellow. This assignment was originally going to be done as a group in class, but instead we are going to do it individually. So really this should be my paragraph because you're going to write it on your own. Notice here that it's highlighted in yellow. That means that when I go back and look at your Google Doc to give you points in PowerSchool, I am going to give you points for this activity. Anything in your Google Doc that is highlighted in yellow is something that I am giving you points for. Okay, so it's really important to notice which activities are highlighted in yellow and make sure that you do those activities and that you do them as best as you can. So your assignment here that is going to be graded is a paragraph, writing a paragraph. And all of this graphic organizer here and all of these checklists and step-by-step directions are to help you write the very best paragraph that you can. So here are 4 steps that you can go through one by one to write this paragraph. So the first step was just kind of a silly little direction that you would have done in your group, okay? But you can skip that because you'll be doing this by yourself. Step 2 is to read the prompt and discuss what topic you would like to write about. So again, you don't need to discuss anything because you're doing this individually. But here is the word prompt, and you do need to read the prompt and look at the pictures and decide which topic you want to write about. The next thing that you will do is to decide on a main idea and some details. Okay, because every paragraph should have that big main idea written in your topic sentence, and every good paragraph should be full of details. And so before you write the paragraph, you should put some thought, put some consideration into what your main idea is and what would be some good details that you could use to support that main idea. Now, there is a graphic organizer that you can use to help you organize your ideas. And this is the graphic organizer right here. Then step 4 is to write your paragraph and find a visual, a chart or a diagram on the internet that helps illustrate your main idea, helps show or put into a picture your main idea. Okay, so your final product is going to be a paragraph and a visual, a chart or diagram that you find on the internet. So let's read the prompt together. The prompt says, the pictures below show problems. You will write a composition. Okay, a composition is just a short piece of writing. You will write a composition about a problem and how it could be solved. Include a chart or a diagram that helps the reader to understand your ideas. So here you can see these pictures portray 3 problems. Okay, the first problem is pretty obvious. There are too many cars in the street and they are all tightly packed together. Okay, they don't seem to be going very fast, and that's because there are too many of them. So this problem could be summarized as Um, uh, Streets are too busy, streets are crowded with cars. There's not enough room in the street for all of the cars. There are too many cars. Okay, so you could summarize this problem as too many cars in the street. So, think to yourself, could you imagine a way to solve that problem? Okay, if you were, say, the governor of um, of a city, or if you were, a person responsible for leading a city, and this was your city, and it looked like this with all of these cars in the streets, what would you do to solve this problem? Can you think of a solution? Okay, is this a problem that you could consider writing about? The middle picture shows a woman with lots of papers in front of her, big baskets of papers, and she looks sort of frustrated. And you could imagine perhaps that she is a teacher and she has too many assignments to grade. Or you could imagine that she is perhaps a college student and she has too much homework to do. You can sort of be a little creative, be a little flexible with this one if you want. Um, and think to yourself, could you think of a solution to any of those things? And in fact, I'm pretty sure you could. If you think about your teachers and if they are overwhelmed with assignments to grade, well, what could they do about that? But make sure that your argument is very good and solid. If you say something like, well, the teacher should not assign homework anymore, you're going to have to make a very strong case about how you can make sure that students are learning if you don't assign them any homework. Okay, so I think that that would be an excellent prompt for many of you because as students, you really understand how school works and you are sitting in those desks as students. So I think that you would have great insight into this prompt of a teacher having too much work to grade. The last picture is a car. It looks to be falling apart. So this car, you would say, is junk. It doesn't work anymore. It has no purpose or function. It's just a piece of junk that no one can use anymore. And it's sitting there out in it looks like a field. You can see grass and dirt and rocks around it. So it is somewhere outside, just sitting out in nature. This piece of junk. And really, I'm sure you've seen things like this before. Even in Iowa, you see this sometimes, where people have junk and they just leave it outside in nature, and that's not good for nature. And well, it's not good for people either because there's just this piece of junk that no one is using. So, can you think of a way to solve this problem, a way to fix this issue? So, those are your three options. And down here is a list of things that you should make sure that you do when you write your paragraph to write a very good and strong paragraph. So, the first thing that you should do is write about all parts of the prompt. So, excuse me. Remember when I was talking about the teacher one, and I said, it would be very tempting to just say, oh, the teacher should just stop assigning homework and problem solved, case closed. But you have to think about all of the parts of your argument. You have to imagine that maybe somebody is sitting across from you and they are arguing with you. And when you say, the teacher should not assign homework, well, then maybe that person would say, then how do you know the students are learning? And in your paragraph, you need to address that question. So you need to really make sure that you're talking about all the different parts of these problems and that you're looking at the problem from, many different perspectives, not just the easy, simple perspective. The next thing you need to do is to present a clear central idea. So right away in your topic sentence, present your main idea, present that big solution and stay focused on it. Your whole paragraph should stay focused on that solution and how to make that solution possible. The next thing that you need to do is to organize your composition from its introduction to its conclusion. This simply means your paragraph needs to have a introduction, a topic sentence, it needs to have details, and it needs to have a conclusion. The next thing you need to do is use transitions to connect your thoughts for the reader. So transitions are words that show how your ideas are connected. So if you have similar ideas, you might use a transition like also or additionally and These words show that your ideas build on each other or connected to each other in some way. If you are saying about how two ideas are different, you would use a different transition word. You would use a word like however or on the other hand. And those transitions show that your two ideas that are next to each other in the paragraph actually have different ideas. And that gives those words give clues to your reader about how your ideas are different. So try to use some words like that in your paragraph to connect your thoughts. Of course, your paragraph should present meaningful ideas. Okay, you need to put forth your brilliant ideas into this paragraph, and you need to support your ideas with specific information, specific ways that your solution could happen, and what people would need to do to make that possible. The next thing you need to do is use appropriate words. Okay, just use the best words that you have in your vocabulary, and use a variety of sentence structures. So, a good way to make sure that you're using a variety of sentence structures is to read your paragraph out loud to yourself after you've written it, and make sure that each sentence sounds a little bit different. If you find yourself repeating a lot of the same sentence structures, well, then you know your paragraph doesn't have enough variety, and you should add a little bit of more variety there. And then lastly, you should always proofread and edit your writing for grammar, usage, mechanics, and spelling. And that's just the basics, right? Make sure your words are spelled right, make sure you got those capital letters, make sure you got those periods. Take a look at your verbs, make sure they're in the right tense, just basic stuff like that. So down here is a graphic organizer. These boxes are called a graphic organizer. And graphic organizer is just a place where you organize your ideas in a visual way. So here in the top box, you write the problem. So which of these problems you chose, right? So if you chose the first picture, you might write something like too many cars in the street. If you pick the second one, you might write too many papers to grade. And if you pick the third one, you might write people putting junk in the environment, people putting their trash in the environment, in the world outside. And then down below, you write your big idea of how that problem can be solved. In the three boxes in the middle of the graphic organizer are where you're going to write three separate details explaining why your solution is good, why you think your solution would work to fix that problem, and what people would need to do to make that solution happen, how people would have to work together, maybe if laws might have to be passed, what would people need to do to make your solution happen. And then you're always going to want to end your paragraph with a conclusion where you restate your main idea. And again, your main idea in this paragraph is how you can solve a problem. So your main idea up here in this box is going to be pretty similar to your conclusion statement, your main idea down here. Obviously, you don't want to repeat the exact same sentence word for word. That would be a bad idea for sentence variety. It would just be a little bit boring. So you want to make sure the words are different, but you keep that main idea. So this graphic organizer is optional, okay? I encourage you to use it to help you organize your ideas, but you are not required to. What you are required to do is to write a paragraph. A paragraph is at least 5 sentences. So you need to write this paragraph here explaining the solution that you propose to solve one of these problems and how that solution should come into being, what people should do to make that solution able to work. So your homework for today is to write this paragraph. If you have any questions, I will be available from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon for office hours. And the link to my office hours is on our Canvas page at the very top of the page. So thank you very much. One quick note, we are nearing the end of this Google Doc. In fact, you're doing the last 2 pages right now. So you can imagine that we will not be working in this Google Doc for much longer. In fact, this will be our very last week with it. So consider this week sort of a catch-up week. If you are missing any of the activities from earlier in the year, from weeks previous, this is the week to get it done. Okay, I will accept all of your work. Even though it's late, I will accept all of your work for full credit this week. So if you go back and do activities from several weeks ago, I will still give you full credit on it all the way through the end of this week. If you decide to do it later in the trimester, I will give you partial credit for it, but not full credit. This is your last week to get full credit for any assignment in this Google Doc. So I really encourage you to spend a little time making sure you did your best work in this Google Doc and that your grade reflects your understanding and reflects your hard work these last 4 weeks of the school year. All right. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you on Tuesday.